Suicide Squad.
Please don't use that one.
Oh,
that's not
please.
a good tech.
Oh, no, we're going to use it.
Oh,
God,
fine.
Fuck you.
Oh my god, fine.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Whatever Projector podcast. We're talking about Suicide Squad today.
Oh, yeah.
We're finally getting around to Suicide Squad.
Maybe we should introduce ourselves.
Yeah, and I'm James, and you're Sam.
I'm a co-host. Woo!
Yeah. This is another film that's been super hyped up for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Like we've been talking about it on and off for 2 years, I want to say.
Mm-hmm. We've been skeptical for quite some time. Maybe nowhere near as much as Batman vs Superman.
Well, it was such a weird thing for them to say, oh yeah, we're going to do Batman v Superman, that film you've been wanting for 40 years. Also, Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
It's in the same year as well. These are the two tentpole films of the DC cinematic
All
universe.
the stuff you probably should say for last.
Yeah. It's well, or you think it would be more down the line. It's a lot of people have compared it to Guardians of the Galaxy. It's like the weirder.
It's cooler, idiot cousin.
Yeah. It's it's Hot Topic cousin. But
You.
Yeah. No, but that's what it is. But you'd think that they would do Marvel and do a couple of films first, get you introduced to Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern, and then eventually it's oh, by the way, we also have this super weird film about all the villains teaming up to be their own squad.
Yeah.
But no, it's right out of the gate.
Yeah, before we get into that, because that's going to be the meat of this podcast,
Yeah.
I want to just quickly talk about what we've been up to, and we can quickly gloss over Star Trek.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other film that we saw in the last couple of weeks. But, it's going to be a pretty quick review. It's good.
It's the shit.
It's really good.
Yeah. I'm not a Trekkie fan. I'm not a Trekkie.
Yeah.
I loved it. Really
and I am a Trekkie, and I loved it.
Yeah.
So it's good.
It pleases both sides.
Yeah, it's a really, really solid film, and I hope they keep going with Justin Lin and Simon Pegg writing it, because they did a really bang up job. It kind of makes the other films look dramatically worse, because it's this is what you could have been doing, and it's really, really impressive.
The first one is very pedestrian. I wouldn't say it's bad, but
no, I'd say pedestrian.
Yeah,
which is what Star Trek really needed at that point, I think, because it had gotten so insular and weird, no one was really paying attention to it anymore. So having it be much more mainstream and just a basic plot was probably the right way to go.
And I didn't even bother watching the second one.
You did not miss anything.
I've said so much Nick stuff.
You don't need to, because this film immediately just says you don't need to see that movie. You could literally.
Well, they cure death. I'm pretty sure I'm fine with them retconning that.
They cure death, and they create a teleporter that can literally go across the galaxy. So that's game-breaking stuff.
Yeah. I don't understand why anyone would... You know what we should do in our ongoing film franchise? Let's cure death.
I mean...
No! No!
I mean, what they wanted was, they wanted to have the Wrath of Khan twist of one of the characters dying, but they didn't have nearly the level of balls that Nimoy and Shatner did back in the day, so it's they don't want to kill off their characters with any kind of finality. Even for the, oh, we'll bring him back next movie. No, that's too late. It's they don't want to have to deal with that. Made sense. But you can just cutting that out of the sequels just saves a lot of trouble.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, when Beastie Boys started playing, my pants had left Earth's atmosphere. They flew right off. Yeah, having Beastie Boys in the soundtrack is always really good, but having it be the thing that saves the world, that pushed it over the edge. I was like, this is a pretty fun film, and then I realised how they were setting up to use Beastie Boys to save the day.
They had 5 minutes of techno babble, and you didn't even need to understand it, but it's them literally justifying to themselves and everyone around them, this is why Beastie Boys is going to save the day.
I was so happy.
Oh, man.
Oh my god.
We were looking at each other in the cinema. It's are they going to do it? Are they going? Oh my god, they did it!
At first, we were waiting for it to be on the motorbike, and we were. That was a pretty hype moment, but I'm so glad they saved that for when they fucked that swarm up.
I mean, we don't need to spoil it, but it's
it's not really the finale of the film, but that's the high point.
Yeah.
The rest of the film is quite the wild ride, one would say.
There's some pretty rad stuff in there.
Yeah. And it's not anything groundbreaking, but it keeps things fresh, I'd say.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. And if they just keep in this direction, then it's going to be a solid film franchise.
Hell yeah. And like beyond that, the only other thing I can really talk about, since it's a bit slow for news right now, is I watched When Marnie Was There.
That's another thing I need to get around to watching.
Watch it; it's really good.
Yeah,
it's really like
I expected it to be good.
Yeah, it's such a good last hurrah from Studio Ghibli, because that was their last film, and I love the majority of their other films, and I'm not like knocking things like Nausicaa or Laputa, but I like the fact that it was quite grounded in reality compared to a lot of their other films. A lot of the films are these very well imagined fantastical worlds, but in this one it's basically this girl who has I'm not going to go too much into it, but this girl has asthma, not really bad asthma, so they send her out to the country so she can focus on getting better. Send her out to the countryside to like live with her aunt, I think it is. And while she's out there, she sees this old house, and she meets somebody called Marnie, and then she like starts like talking to her, and it basically becomes kind of like a character piece.
Yeah,
and it just uses like some slight supernatural elements to like move the story forward. Like there's like I can't go too much into it, but basically that's the most sort of fantasy it kind of gets to really like talk about things like self-worth and family and relationships and stuff. And again, I'm not knocking the old films, because like I love Nausicaa and Laputa and Spirited Away and stuff, but I think I like the fact that their last film it's set in modern days, because it's weird. Like you see characters like using smartphones. I'm like, this is weird seeing smartphones in a Ghibli film.
Well, it's sort of like for me seeing smartphones in Simpsons. It's just like that's not meant to be there. That's
yeah.
Like you're about weird shit and like stuff in the past. You're not meant to be modern.
Yeah. So I quite like that they went for like a modern day sort of setting, because I felt like as much as the other films did have good messages about war and pollution and relationships and stuff, I like the fact they went with a modern setting, so that some of the more personal stuff like felt a bit hits closer to home, and like I thought it was like really good. And it has some like really like nice development between the characters, and it takes some interesting sort of directions. Like it's very simple if I describe the whole plot to you, but the execution's pretty good, and it just has like this fucking gut punch moment in it, which like really gets you.
I mean, it sounds like a Ghibli film.
Like,
yeah, very simple story, gut punch moment.
Yeah, it really does
gets that stuff good.
Yeah, it does a lot of good like setting up to like sort of rip your heart out.
Yeah, we're gonna.
I cried at that film. I hate it.
Yeah. We're gonna definitely miss Ghibli films if they really are just done for good, like they're suggesting they are.
They are. They've shut down, I believe, now.
Well, I mean, they said that they're ceasing production. They may come back in some form later, but it is not looking good considering where they've been for the last couple of years, financially and everything.
Yeah.
But if they ended on a good film, then that's a really good note.
Who knows? Maybe Disney would be willing to like help them set up a sensibly run production company.
Possibly,
because Disney has always like worked very closely with them. I believe they have all the rights to do the English localizations.
Yeah, I can imagine them doing that and just adding to the Disney empire.
The Disney almost monopoly at this point.
I'm just imagining like Walt Disney or Mickey Mouse like on a money pile, and like Studio Ghibli.
We have all the things you think are cool, huh?
Yeah, like and like Ghibli comes in like the beggar, like, please Lord, spare me some money, and like and Mickey Mouse is on there.
You may kiss my hand. I'm imagining Miyazaki's up there smoking a cigarette, like, anime was not a mistake.
You may enter my kingdom.
That's exactly what happened, Jamie.
Yeah,
how did you guess it?
Yep. No, if they can do that'd be great. But I'm not expecting anything right now.
I at the very least don't want to see that style of their films die out, where like narratively and artistically. Like their design's so simple yet so memorable, and they always use it for pretty much every single film they've ever made.
Yeah,
and I like it. It's good. So really recommend When Marnie Was There. It's a very good film.
Yeah, like I said, I've been meaning to get around to it. It's one of those films that I definitely want to watch.
Yeah, I'm gonna like work on buying all the Blu-rays, because I've got a bunch of DVDs and I've seen a lot of the films, but I need to. Those films deserve to be watched in Blu-ray.
Oh yeah, definitely. I always feel bad when they've been in theaters for like a day, because those films don't get released for shit out here.
Nah.
And like anytime like I've tried to go to like just releases or anything where they actually bother to release it here. Like even in inconvenient times, I try to get it in cinemas.
I was pretty lucky to see Wind Rises and Princess Kaguya. Yeah, that one.
Those were great in cinemas.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all I have to say really, and we can, unless you got anything to talk about.
I haven't watched or played anything recently. I'm still meaning to get onto The Little Prince.
Yeah, me too. We were going to watch that, but you know this we've got enough steam here.
Yeah. So Suicide Squad. Should we move on to that?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. So I walked out. Let's start out with that. I don't usually walk out of films ever, but I'll explain why I walked out over the course of this review, I'm sure, but I was just not having it. It just wasn't doing it for me at all.
Which is funny, because I thought this was just a movie.
Yeah.
There's been such strong opinions. Like, there's been people saying it's the worst thing ever.
Now, I'm not saying it's the worst thing ever, and that's the reason I walked out.
Yeah.
In some ways, a lot of it was just a movie, and that's why I walked out. Because like the bits that were there, because like there were bits that were genuinely infuriating for me, but then I thought like about the stuff that was there that was functional, it was just a movie, and I was thinking, is this really how I want to spend another hour of my time? Because I just didn't care enough. Where it's like, okay, yeah, this is functional, but that like DC, you're not at a point where functional gets me. Functional is absolutely not enough for me at this point.
Yeah,
like,
at one point, it was a superhero film was considered good because it was functional.
Yeah.
We're far past that point.
Now, Marvel, they can get by on goodwill, and maybe that makes me sound like a Marvel fanboy or biased or whatever.
Oh my god, you're part of the conspiracy.
Yeah.
But you're working for Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, Marvel pays me. Yeah,
the fucking salt that some people have been flinging.
Yeah, Marvel found me, little nobody critic on the internet. It's like, hey kid, want $1?
You've got 7 subscribers.
Yeah, don't worry. Like, just tell people Suicide Squad was shit. We'll keep you going.
We'll send you a laser disc of Thor 1. You want that, right?
Yeah,
laser disc of Thor 1.
Yeah, I do.
I want a VCD of Thor 2.
I want, when Thor Ragnarok comes out, I want that on Laserdisc with like some like 80s metal cover on it.
Oh yeah,
that'd be fucking rad.
Maybe of like Hulk picking up Thor and using him as a hammer.
Yes, that like on top of a mountain that's on fire. That'd be great. But my point was that Marvel gets by on goodwill and like can make some fairly average movies because we care about that world, we care about those characters. They put a lot of work into it. So even when the actual plot is fairly mediocre and the characters, like, they've done well enough with them where I care about them just from like osmosis at this point.
Yeah.
DC is in such a barrel that it's like, no. You need to do, like, to win my trust back at this point. I'm not having it at just mediocre, you know?
True.
And well, to be fair, like, also I didn't like the idea of my money going to this.
Yeah, you did you get it for free?
Points
card?
Yeah, I went in with the points card, and then I thought I didn't want them to get that money, so I got a refund.
Wow.
I got a refund.
Wow.
I got a refund on the gift card that I got.
That's I think somebody cried at that. It's like, I paid nothing for this, and I still feel cheated. They're not getting my nothing.
You're not getting the money that I didn't pay for this. Give me back someone else's money. Oh, yeah, no, but literally I just walked over. Like, what I did was I walked out, it's like, you know what, yeah, I'm fine, I don't need this. Walked out, went down to the till and said, I've been in there about an hour, what's the longest I can stay in there and still get my money back? And they said, you're probably like just over the line, but fine, we'll give you your money back. Do you have the ticket? It's like, oh shit, I left it in the cinema. So I ran back in there, and like people like let me walk past because I'm in the middle of the road. It's like, pick it up. Thanks, I just came back to get this. I'm leaving. What are you still doing here?
Oh, sorry guys, keep watching your film. Just came back in for my ticket because I thought this was quite a waste of time. Enjoy yourself.
Yeah, basically, and then left and got my money, got my other people's money back.
Damn, bro, that's brutal.
Yeah, so that was my experience with it. I was really not enjoying myself at that point. To be fair. Yeah.
Damn.
So why don't you recap the plot?
Okay, all right. I've got it down here. All right. Basically, the film starts off with just establishing the characters almost right away.
It spends quite a lot of time just establishing the characters, right? It's like it's. I was trying to clock it. It was like 15, 20 minutes of Amanda Waller like eating that steak, like casually explaining all the characters.
Looks like a good steak. So she establishes a bunch of the characters, and the beginning of the film is I did notice like. I could see where like the original cut was because they when they're like showing Harley Quinn's character, like there's that really like just dark like scene where like they're like emotionally and physically abusing her and like having to force feed her, and like they put that color tint on it that you've been seeing in the trailers, and like you can see that's like where they started like, oh, this is gonna be so much darker than Marvel. Like you can see where that was.
Yeah, that's where I was starting to get squicky a little bit because it was like
that right away.
Immediately because like they show Harley like being all sexy and like imply that the prison guards are like either attracted to her or like abused her in some way, and then like it's meant to be sexual, and then they cut to like her getting fed through the nose being abused by the Joker. It's like it was a very weird way to frame that. Like I was like, this is I'm not going SJW on this. I'm not saying like, oh, I'm offended. I'm just saying it was gross.
Tonally, it's very
confusing. I don't know what I was meant to be feeling at that point. I don't know what I don't know what the movie was going for. It's just that was my problem with it.
Yeah, I mean, as we since we're on the character introductions, we might as well talk about them as we go along.
Let's go through the characters.
Starting with Harley Quinn.
Yeah. you didn't care for Harley?
I was cringing into fucking oblivion.
Yeah.
I like as like a character by itself. Like a lot of people have been like really liking this film and liking Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. That's brilliant. That's awesome. Didn't fucking like her at all.
Yeah.
Again, as like just in the Suicide Squad film, I suppose as a Harley Quinn character, she's relatively functional as a representation of the character, but. First of all, her humour was... I laughed once.
Harley Quinn, nice to meet you.
Is that a stench of death? Ah ha 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 ha!
Yeah, that was... yeah, not fun.
No, it was... I wanted to like her. Like, Margot Robbie, she's a fine actress.
That scene where she's like, what's that? I should kill everyone and escape? Sorry, the voices... Just kidding, that's not what they really said. That was bad in the trailer. It's so much worse in the film.
It feels so, like, flat, that joke in the film. Like,
it's also just, like, the space they left for, like laugh tracks.
Like, dead air. Like at least in the trailer.
Even Marvel doesn't do that. Like, they just, like, if you laugh, you laugh. But, you know, the jokes are just, you know, they keep coming. They're like,
quippy.
They don't stop for you to laugh at them. Like, like we're so fucking funny.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, at least in the Suicide Squad trailer where they dropped that joke multiple times, at least it was a lot faster and punchier, so you could...
And there was music backing it, so it didn't feel like a lead balloon just, like, falling out of the sky.
Yeah, not funny.
How about that costume, right?
Here's the weird thing.
They show the original, right? It's like...
she doesn't actually toss it in the film. She just picks up and then it cuts later to when she's chosen her much shitter costume.
Yeah.
But like,
what I don't get is like that was in her effect, so like that was just like with the rest of the costume.
Yeah.
I don't get what the process was for that. Like, is that
maybe like that's her like regular clothes, her street clothes or something? Because she's zany.
Because that's what you wear just like walking down the street, right? Like.
This is Suicide Squad.
No, I know, I know, but I'm just trying to figure out the process for why she would be dressed up, like why that's in her personal effects along with but whatever.
Yeah, the weird thing is I've become numb to that costume, and now because I'm numb, I don't like it, but I don't have a problem with it anymore. I'm just like, yeah, this is the new Harley Quinn.
I'm sort of similar, but the thing is, what it really exemplified to me was how fucking useless she is on the team. Because like the pitch that Amanda Waller gives is basically, okay, Superman's dead, but imagine if evil Superman had happened. What if he'd flown into the president's office, kidnapped him? Who would stop him? And like the team you get,
Hot Topic girl can help us.
Yeah, you get the crazy girl with a bat. Guy who's good with boomerangs, guy who ties knots real good, guy who's pretty good with a gun, and like a psychopath crocodile man. and like two magic guys who are actually genuinely useful. But like, that's the team you get for that pitch. Like it just doesn't make any sense. Like that's the way they went around with it. You know, it's like it's very confusing. And like Harley Quinn, like just looking like a college girl, really exemplifies these are not not even super villains. They're just random assholes.
Yeah, there's been a lot of fun police who are taking to Facebook. Probably the same sorts of people who took to Facebook and started bitching about Pokemon Go. There are people saying, "Oh, all these people who are going to dress up as Harley Quinn for Halloween." Fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you. No one's impressed. No one's impressed that you're saying, "Oh, these women are gonna dress up as Harley Quinn." Like, no one's gonna like get up and like have a Shia LaBeouf round of applause for you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care that people are enjoying it. That's fine. I just don't think that it worked for the movie. You know,
even like me, someone who did not like her character almost at all. Like, even I can see like, look, people are having fun. Just fuck off, dude.
Yeah,
that's. Apart from a little anecdote later, that's all I have to say about Harley Quinn.
I will say, like, one last note on that costume. It's almost more offensive that the original costume was in there just to have that reference to to Alex Ross.
Yeah,
like, it's a beautiful shot of her like dancing with the Joker.
Yeah,
but it's just like, why did you not just use that costume? That's really good.
I know, and it's so odd that she started off with the costume that made sense, and then she goes to one where it's like, no, this looks like somebody's really good first attempt at a Harley cosplay. Like, why did she go backwards?
I don't get it. Yeah.
It's,
like you'd think it would be the origin, right? And it's like,
yes, that's what I originally thought.
Yeah.
And then the film happened.
Yeah.
Next, got Deadshot. Deadshot was probably the most alright out of this film,
it was Will Smith being Will Smith, which we haven't gotten in a while. I'll say that. He's he's charismatic, he's real funny.
Yeah, I think he actually balanced the serious Will Smith with funny Will Smith.
Yeah, well. I mean, he was kind of half-assing it in some places where it was just like, what are we, some kind of Suicide Squad?
I know,
Christ alive. Yeah, we didn't need that. But the thing is, though, it's like, he was charismatic, which carried a lot of it.
There was no rap song.
There was no clean rap.
Boo! Like, come on, like I know it's asking a lot to have a well polished and catchy rap song that late into production, but come on, with all the soundtrack changes and edits and stuff, why not have a pursuit of rappiness, as Mr. Sunday would say?
Just anything would have, like, because they could have.
You could have played Wild Wild West.
Yeah, you could have, right? It's just like they were playing random music enough, like just for over scenes that didn't make sense. So yeah, why not?
Yeah, I did like that they tried their best to make him more human and relatable.
Yeah, they did.
Because obviously, a bunch of villains, you need somebody who's like not nearly as much of a dick as everyone else.
Yeah,
like, just human.
They did that, but I don't know, it felt a little forced for most of the characters. Like, they had that one thing where they said, oh, this is why you should feel sorry for them, and they're not completely irredeemable.
Yeah.
But it was literally just, like, token facts, like, backstory things. Like, even Deadshot is just like, oh, by the way, he has a kid, he cares about her. But it's like, no, when you think about it, this is a man who is absolutely killed for money, and, like, that's his entire thing. Like, he doesn't care about anything or anyone for most, like, and, like, the rest of the characters, they don't even bring up their token facts for most of it.
Yeah, that reminds me of I forgot to say about Harley. Like they sort of like get her basic character down, but they don't really do anything with it. Like this is her character. It's like she's a complex character, but they don't do anything like original. They kind of play it safe.
Yeah,
and they almost summarize what Bruce Timm already.
Well, they summarize Mad Love in like 5 minutes, which I don't think is the right way to do that. Like, you almost need, an origin movie for each of these characters before you team them up, because fucking hell, some of them are too complex to just have like a 20-minute exposition scene at the beginning. But
and I did like that bit with Batman apprehending Deadshot. Like,
that was really good.
Yeah, like that's what I would have liked more of Batman.
All the Ben Affleck Batman stuff has been pretty good so far. I mean, apart from the murder in Batman v Superman, but like just like the general thing of him being Batman, he's good.
He actually beat him with like using his wit and cunning.
Yeah, and the fact that also like saving Harley, like actively going out of his way to like make sure that none of them die. That was like that's Batman. That's a really good thing for him.
Exactly. On to Killer Croc. Another example of how they're far too complex to just throw into a film that quickly. Killer Croc is a character who can be pretty sympathetic because he doesn't really want to be this monster, but that's the way he was born. And then people saying oh, you're a monster, so he kind of just ends up becoming the monster people say he is.
Yeah, he just goes with it.
Yeah, and that makes him sympathetic. And in this, he's just kind of at the sidelines to sometimes say things.
Now, to be fair, I've heard scenes that he had after the bit where I left about an hour in, so maybe he got more interesting, but he said nothing for the first hour.
He does do some stuff later in the film, but it's still you could earn so much more with this.
Well, this is my point. It's just Guardians of the Galaxy, all of those characters show up in the first hour, all of them are well established, you care about all of them, it's very clear who they are. With Suicide Squad, an hour in, I was just thinking, I am halfway through this movie and I don't know or care about any of these people, really.
Yeah, he just kind of, sometimes he'll agree, or he'll throw, maybe one joke
and it wasn't very animalistic.
There is a bit later where, he has to crawl into this, what is it? A subway that's been flooded with water, yeah. And it was kind of funny, but he sort of crawls in like a crocodile.
I've heard about that bit, and
that works quite well.
That's fine, but I'm just saying, generally, he didn't act very animalistic.
He didn't.
Even in the fighting, he doesn't go super chompy and running around.
He's just kind of a bruiser. I think he bites some guys at some point, does some big bites on their necks, but that's about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, kind of underused. Okay, next we have Slipknot. Surprise, surprise, he dies almost right away, and I couldn't even laugh. I could not even laugh when he died.
Well, this is my point about these things that we were even calling beforehand. It's not even a joke. It's and the problems that I had with this movie, compared to Batman v Superman, every thing that went wrong was hilarious.
Yes.
Everything was what the fuck did they just do? That was so funny. But with Suicide Squad, it felt everything landed with a thump. It's just yeah, that's what we expected. He runs off immediately. A fucking and he shows up immediately. He doesn't.
And they're just oh, that's Slipknot. He ties knots real good.
Well, no,
that was it.
Well, they try to justify it instead of knots real good, like it was in the comics. He climbs anything, which again is wait. So again, Superman kidnap president. Guy climbs things real good. Where's the connect?
He could climb a whole Superman. Yeah. He could climb an entire Henry Cavill, couldn't you? Can you climb that mountain of muscle?
I mean, would be a fun experience climbing Henry Cavill, but
I don't know. I feel like I'd get up to the first ab and give up.
Yeah.
I'd probably fall to my death.
Yeah, but Slipknot. This is another thing where it's this feels like it was a placeholder thing where they just say, okay, we need a character to die, where it's you know about the bombs, you know they're real. So
yeah.
So the audience knows. Okay, and I imagine the writers writing this. Okay, we'll just write in Slipknot for now, and we'll put someone there who you'd care about later. I get in other Suicide Squad things, they've had characters who you don't necessarily care about to demonstrate that, but it was so half-assed. He says nothing to make you care about the fact that he's just died. It's just okay, and when he died, this was one of the points where I said, give me a fucking reason to leave movie. Harley Quinn says, wow, that's a real killer app.
Yeah, I know. I put my hands over my mouth.
That was literally the point where I was saying, movie, you get one more, and I'm gone. I'm not even shitting. That's the point where, I should not be actively looking for reasons to leave in any movie, but that's the point where it's okay, look, I'm
strike one.
Yeah, strike whatever we're on. But yeah. I gave you way too many chances. Went up to, wow, that's a killer app, but you're straddling the line here.
You know what I would have preferred if Captain Boomerang and him kind of had a back and forth, Captain Boomerang almost because he wants to see if it actually works, he almost tricks him into doing that. That would have been cool.
I thought they were maybe leaning up to that, but then it looked like he was actually really trying to escape.
Yeah,
and it's oh no, so simple to make that scene just a bit more interesting, and they took the most boring, simple way out, and it's just that whole thing permeated the entire movie.
Yeah. And that's all we can say about Slipknot. So on to Captain Boomerang.
Yeah, he was good, like underused from the hour that I saw of him, but it's like,
true.
He like
for basically a handicapped version of Deadshot, he was alright.
Yeah, I mean his whole thing is basically, I aim real good, like Deadshot, but I have to have a weird novelty about it. I can't just shoot a guy. I've got to throw a stick at him and have it come back.
I'm straying, mate.
Yeah, it was good to see Jai Courtney like using his authentic accent and
he worked with what he had.
Yeah, and doing actually good. Like Jai Courtney is like usually quite terrible.
What else has Jai Courtney been in?
Terminator Genesis,
of course. How could I forget that gem?
Yeah, and Die Hard 5.
Oh dear.
Yeah, remember that? Or he was Bruce.
He was Will Smith's son. Yeah. In Die Hard 5. I would have watched Die Hard 5 if Will Smith was Bruce Willis.
That would be an interesting turn up. I'd watch that. But yeah, he was Bruce Willis's son in that one, and that no one cared about. So yeah, he's not had a great career so far.
Yeah.
But yeah, seeing him actually Australian, like a bit scrappy, bit drunk. That's how I want my Jai Courtney.
Is that not Jai Courtney in general?
Yeah, scrappy, drunk, and homeless. That's what Jai Courtney is when he's not acting. Let's have him here.
When he's not robbing banks.
Yeah, when he's not robbing every bank in Australia.
Which, that's a lot of banks, mate.
That's a lot of banks. Like, how many banks would he?
He robbed so many banks he had to go to another country.
He got bored. He got bored of robbing every bank in Australia.
Yeah.
Oh man. And speaking of which, I don't know if this is a spoiler, but like the Justice League member who comes up to take him to prison. That was a neat little thing I wasn't expecting. I was okay with that.
Yeah.
Apparently Zack Snyder directed that bit.
That's what I heard.
Yeah. So it's like,
and it just happened to line up with shooting Justice League.
Yeah, so that's a neat little thing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And like he looked real good.
Yeah. I mean,
okay,
we're in a spoiler talk, aren't we? We can.
Yeah, I don't think it's too big a spoiler to say it's the Flash. I mean, Captain Boomerang is a Flash villain, so that seemed like a smart way to have a little sprinkle in there.
Yes.
So yeah, okay, that was a good thing.
Yeah.
Captain Boomerang. Did he do anything interesting after I left? Because like
Captain Boomerang.
Yeah.
No, he continued to be Deadshot, but not quite as good.
Yeah.
Because it was like, I can throw things really good. It's like,
how many boomerangs does he throw in the entire movie?
Not many.
Yeah,
he's kind of he more like uses them as like close quarters weapons. At one point he throws one like a remote control batarang, and he uses it with like a camera, I think on the bottom, I assume, to like look into like what the enemy's doing. Does the camera
correct for the motion to?
No, I'm putting this together with my own imagination that he in the middle. There's a camera that constantly spins around in time with the spinning of the boomerang. That's the only way I can assume that there's a camera. Otherwise, it'd be a camera on the end flicking around constantly, just having this constant blur. Like, I can see them.
I'm imagining like Captain Boomerang, guys, I'm going to be helpful, and like throws the camera,
and it's like, wait, where'd you put the camera? Oh, I'll put it on the end. Get out.
Because basically what it is, if it's correcting for the motion, it's a little helicopter, like with the camera like on the bottom.
So you might as well just send in a drone.
Yeah, basically, right? Like it wasn't helpful in any way other than a drone. It's like, again, that's not very helpful. Like to have basically just a drone camera on a boomerang. He's got a gimmick. Therefore, he's on the team.
And he cracks open a beer at one point.
Yeah, man, that fell flat. Like,
yeah, like
in the trailer,
it was much better.
In the trailer, it was so good. It was like all this action, then that.
Yeah, that nice like cracking.
Yeah, noise. But in the film, it's like it's like at a quieter point, so it's nowhere near as funny.
Yeah.
And it's like little pony that he's carrying around with him. That was just like. Fuck it, write a joke in there about ponies or something.
I believe like there's a bit where
it's 2014, right? That joke's still relevant, right?
No.
Bronies are a thing.
No, it's not that. When it's introduced him, it has a bunch of like things, say like how many, what like their name, who they are, alias, that sort of thing. There's a bit where I think it says like other notes, possibly has a pink unicorn fetish or something.
Alright.
Yeah, I know.
That's a weird thing to keep on profile. I don't know why they'd...
It's because it's quirky.
Is it, though?
It's their quirky, Jamie.
Yeah, alright, fine.
Yeah. So that's all I can say. And then El Diablo.
Okay, yeah.
It was more interesting.
From what I saw, it was pretty interesting. Again, the only Suicide Squad member that ends up being genuinely useful, like, against large problems.
Yeah,
so.
like I know they've just done like a lot of like lifting from the comics, and that I believe they changed a little bit about his backstory
slightly. From what I take it in the comics, he killed a lot of people, like children.
Yeah. In the comics, like he lights up a bunch of like gang members, but then he like children accidentally die because of him, and then he becomes a pacifist.
Yeah, and he feels bad about it. But in this one, it's his family died. Yeah, which I like. It's a bit vague. So, but either way, it's fine. It gets the point across.
Yeah, he says, "Oh, she said no," and like then you can put together, "Oh, he lost it."
Yeah, he just lost control, which is that basically same effect. So
he actually ends up becoming fairly useful.
I have heard how he ends up being useful. So
it's so fucking metal.
Yeah, again, I didn't get to that point. But
I'll talk about it.
Yeah,
later.
sure. Yeah, when we get to spoilers. Yeah, but he good design, roughly good character. The same kind of problem I had was he's fairly one note. Like he doesn't actually like he doesn't have great interplay with all the other characters. He doesn't really have an investment in the situation himself. He doesn't really like.
His characters for the most of the thing is that he doesn't want to get involved with the fighting. They basically give up trying to convince him to join. So they just say, "Look, you're coming with us, whether you like it or not."
Yeah, again, it is just like it's very simple writing. It's like, no, I'm not joining. No, you're never going to see these fire powers. Just you, you'll wait, and I'm not going to do it. And it's like, do it. It's like, fine. And then they
he shows us cool powers.
Yeah,
because he's like the strongest of the group.
Yeah, exactly. And then he's useful, I assume, for the rest of it. Like again, I walked out.
Pretty much.
But yeah.
Okay. So El Diablo, and then. Katana, I think they were doing the film, and then the woman showed up in costume and said, "Okay, I'm ready for my shoot." And they said, "Oh, shit, that's right. Okay." And then they played it by ear, because I get that she's like an anti-hero, so she's not really part of the Suicide Squad, but she shows up, and then whatever that guy's name is, Rick Flag. He spoon feeds us her backstory, and then that's it.
Well, not even backstory. He just says, "Oh, you don't want to get killed by her. Her sword drains the souls of her enemies."
Yeah,
cool.
There is actually there's a scene much later on in the film you definitely didn't see.
Yeah.
Where just before the final fight, she's like crying and talking to her sword.
Yeah, and it's got her husband in it.
I wanted that scene first.
Yeah.
Like when they're all in the helicopter, like it would have been like more interesting if she pulled out her sword and started crying and talking to her husband's soul, how like she wanted to be with him
again
when she was in his battle.
It's something, but it's going back to my point. None of these characters had any story or backstory that was relevant to anything that was going on.
Yeah.
Or why they would be a part of the team, why they wouldn't. Katana's basically not a character from what the part of the film that I saw. She's
sadly underused.
Yeah. She's not used very well. She doesn't doesn't have interplay with the rest of the characters.
Yeah.
She doesn't really no personal investment in the story that's going on. She's just a cool visual that's there. And even with the crying into the husband's sword, it's just another thing where it's like, again, just like that side note. Oh, by the way, this is why you should care about her. And it's like, it's a cool concept. But in this movie, it's just there. It doesn't actually add anything.
Like that scene, like I talked about, like comes in like just before the final battle. It's way too late for like me to start caring about her character.
Yeah.
Even though I like her concept, I actually like her design now. And it's just like, come on, like you got to give me more than that film.
Yeah, exactly.
And now we'll talk about Enchantress.
Okay.
She's
not really a member of the team, though.
Yeah, I know. She's the one who, spoilers, she goes AWOL.
Like, immediately.
Yeah. Well, she had been working for, not the Suicide Squad, but, like, she'd been working for the government for ages.
Well, she was meant to be the other heavy on the team.
Yeah.
And, like, this is something that we didn't really see in the trailers, like, who the villain was, what the actual plot was.
I guessed that it was her.
They kept that really under wraps. Until, like, the last couple of trailers, they started showing her in her enhanced form.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, she's probably the... And like, when you look back, it's like, oh, yeah, she wasn't in most of the fight scene stuff that we'd seen. So I was like, oh, okay, so that makes sense. That's why she's not there.
Yeah.
It really bothered me because it's like, the whole point... Like, okay, wait, so what threat were they getting the Suicide Squad together to fight? Because, like, she immediately goes rogue, and she's the problem. Like, she's, like, they never addressed that the Suicide Squad program is exactly the reason that they end up needing the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
And the fact they just like leave her to roam free, it's very, very confusing. And like,
well, she's not really roaming free because they've got her heart in a box.
Fat lot of good that did.
Yeah,
we'll get onto that in spoilers later. I mean, as a character, like, what did you think of her?
Again, woefully underused. I liked the setup that she had. I liked it was very quick and concise, but I liked the sort of setup they had of how they wanted how they got her to work for them, and I liked the idea that the woman June Moon, she like had her inside, and like each time she like lets out Enchantress, it's like a horrifying ordeal for her, and she ends up having a relationship with Rick Flag, and I like that.
I like that conceptually, but the way that they, again, it's Amanda Waller telling us this, and it felt very much like The Last Airbender, where Katara says, and my brother fell madly in love with the princess, rather than showing us any of that. Like, it just happened, and it's just like, oh yeah, by the way, they're in love, you should care about that. And it's like, it's never shown like why they're in love. It's like, it's just a prop to explain like why, you know, like stuff happens later on.
This is what I was thinking about yesterday, or this morning. Like, if DC like wanted to prove like, look at how much more serious we can be. Like, if they wanted to do like a serious superhero film, I feel like that could have been a really good one. Like, have it just her like having this emotional battle with the fact that her superhero alter ego isn't really a hero. And
I mean, like I said, it's an interesting idea, but as soon as she goes rogue, she's just a blank. She's just there to kill people. She has no other motives than she just hates humans. She's entirely powerful. Like, she doesn't like become more complex as things go on. She's just a threat, you know?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It wouldn't really be a conventional superhero film, but that character setup is like, to me, if you got to get good writer on board, that's enough room for some interesting character development and make it more of a character piece. That character conflict, to me, is good enough setup for a character piece that happens to be a superhero film. Well, if they want to,
what it really reminded me of was Moon Knight, which from Marvel, because like the idea behind Moon Knight, I forget his like his real character's name, but basically he's a guy who discovers an ancient Egyptian artifact that basically makes him go insane and gives him multiple personalities, and each of these multiple personalities like express themselves in different ways, and he's not really a hero. Like, he does some terrible things. He's like, he murders people. He's a billionaire, and like he's a really
he's a bad man. He's a billionaire.
No, but like he's a much like darker kind of hero that we haven't really seen before, and like he's conflicted because he's technically mentally insane. He's he murders people, but he does the good things sometimes, and it's like that's the kind of thing that would be really interesting. And that's the sort of thing you could have had with Enchantress if she was actually on the team, like, and actually fighting a different threat. Because, like, her interplay, arguably, she would have had the most interesting, relationships with the rest of the cast. And she's not with them for, like, 90% of the movie.
Yeah, like, she barely says anything to most of the cast.
She barely says anything, period. Like, she has, like, very few lines. And
there's a line that I was looking forward to seeing her say, which they cut out, which is, like, let's have some fun.
Yeah,
exactly. I was like, oh. Yeah, I like that line.
Exactly. It's just like she's very quiet. She talks in her demon otherworldly tongue.
Her dead language, whatever it is.
Yeah, to her brother, but it's like you're not gonna get any emotional clarity. And like it's basically just to say all the humans are awful. They used to worship us,
and now we're gonna build some vague machine to destroy them. That shoots
a fucking light into a blue light into the fucking sky and makes a bunch of like Putty Patrol minions to fight the good guys. It's like. They do it so quickly as well. Like, it's just, like, they don't even care. It's just like, you guys know what this is. You've seen, like, 10 comic book movies that have done this. Let's just do it again. It's like, they don't even try to pretend that you should care about it anymore. Like,
Yeah. Her design's awesome, though.
Her design is good, yeah.
I love it. I thought, given the material that she had, I thought Cara Delevingne was fine as her.
She did fine with, again, not very much content.
Oh god, I also love that effect where she puts her hand on the table and flips it over. That's such a cool idea. The way that it's just underneath her hand.
Yeah, it's a really, really clever visual.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like The Grudge a little bit.
Yeah, I was getting that kind of effect from her, like when she turns into the Enchantress. And it was a neat demonstration of her just like randomly getting like Iranian files. Out of nowhere. It's like, hey, look, see, I got the files for you.
That you've been looking for years. That was that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was when I still had hope.
Yes,
for a little bit, but yeah, that was the intro. Just yeah, she was good for what I saw of her, but at least design was, but character, there could have been so much more with that. Like people complain about Marvel villains a lot, like
even Marvel fans.
Yeah, even Marvel fans. Like we're not blind to it. But the thing is, like even the bad Marvel villains conceptually like have something to work with, like that, like even I'm trying to remember.
Thor: The Dark World villain
Malekith, like he at least like he had a cool design. He had an interplay with like Loki that could work. But like he was just like, the thing is like you're allowed to have like mediocre villains if they're just props for the heroes to be more interesting.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like DC used that very well. Like they don't even know what the threat is for most of the movie.
Yeah.
They don't even know it's the Enchantress. They've never met her. So it's like it's this massive block to it,
Yes. And I think finally we can talk about Jared Leto's Joker.
Yeah, let's talk about Joker, because
I think it just happened and that was about it.
The most annoying thing is I don't know how to make an opinion on because he's only in there for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I saw all of it, because if there was an extra scene after
there's a bit later on.
Yeah, I heard.
But it's nothing that it's nothing that makes you say he owned that role.
No, exactly.
He turned in a decent performance, and that was about it.
I've heard people say, and I agree with it. Advertising him so heavily is false advertising for this movie.
Yeah,
it's trying to get people into this movie based on the name recognition of Joker, because that's what they think. Oh, it's the only big name character we have in this movie. We've got to sell him hard.
There's clips of him in the trailer that aren't in the film.
Yeah, well, I mean, Jared Leto, he was interviewed, and they asked him, so what happened to the Joker? And he said, yeah, right, what happened? Because
there's a shit ton of footage that just didn't make it in.
Well, you hear all this shit of him being super method actor and being in character for weeks or months on end, and sending parcels to the other cast members, and he doesn't interact with them for pretty much the entire movie. I've heard about the clips he does have. He only interacts with Harley. He doesn't really have any so I don't even know why he'd be interact with them on set. So it's he's there's so little of him. It's I don't why you could cut him out of the entire movie and it would make as much sense, really.
Yeah.
I kind of wish that he'd been the villain of the whole movie, good or bad, as a performance, just so that I have enough to form an opinion.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, from what I did see, it didn't look good at all. It felt like he was just he wasn't funny. He wasn't really all that menacing. I don't think he was going for a normal gangster type thing. Yeah,
he was channeling a little bit of Jack Nicholson and Heath Ledger, but he didn't have that moment the pencil scene or the bit where Joker's made in the original Batman. There's nothing that made me say, okay, Leto owned it. As far as I'm concerned, I'm waiting until he's in another film where he's actually in it.
I guess. I mean,
to say anything about
I'll say that the design I loosened up on, because those tattoos aren't as visible in motion. In motion, they're not as bad.
He looked perfectly fine in a suit.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, is that he's in a suit for most of it, and I kind of like the hand tattoo with the mouth on it.
I think that's the tattoo I'm the coolest with.
Yeah, that was a neat idea.
Yeah.
And damaged you can barely see. So,
we'll never forget, though.
We'll never forget. I want damaged written on my forehead.
In a nice cursive.
Could you put that in a nice cursive or something? I want it to look good for, job interviews and
stuff. You know what? I would have forgiven them if they, digitally removed damage and replaced it with the same word, but in black Helvetica. Make it the most boring, average font ever, just like the film.
Fucking notifications.
That was really professional.
Yeah.
Hopefully that doesn't pick up too much on the mic.
It did.
Great.
We're great. We're great at this.
I refuse to put in I refuse to put in more effort than they did for Suicide Squad.
Basically. Yeah. That's our excuse. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we might have spent more time on the Joker than they actually spent in the movie.
Ha! So yeah, we've pretty much run down the majority of the characters. So
Amanda Waller was good.
Yeah. She knows how to play like a fierce, no shit taking kind of character.
Yeah. And that's she was exactly what Amanda Waller should be. She's just
like in real life, where she said, "Look, if Leto pulls any of that shit with me, I'm not having it."
Exactly. Yeah.
Good on her.
Yeah, she was perfect for the role. I'm really happy with that.
I like that photo that you reblogged of them at the Comic-Con panel, and like Leto's talking, and she's just got these huge, wide white eyes, and it's just like, oh,
don't
stay away from me.
Don't you fucking do anything.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I respect that woman.
Yeah, definitely. She was the right... I mean, like, they were floating the idea of Oprah taking the role, and it's like...
Oh, bruh.
I could see it.
I want that so much more.
Yeah, right?
I just want her to be Oprah, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Oprah's running Suicide Squad.
And you get a bomb in your neck.
Oh, man.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. But no, Viola Davis, she put in a solid performance. If anything carries over, like the rest of them can be recast or changed or have new designs, but she can stick around for whatever, because DC's probably going to reboot this in 5 years.
Yeah,
like they'll probably Flashpoint it or something and just like try to clear out the shit, because like they know that it's like we're 3 in and it's not going well critically.
Yes.
Like money wise, this thing did really well though.
Yeah. Isn't it number 1 right now?
It is the first film I've seen in a long time that was sold out for 2 showings.
Yeah,
I had to wait around. Like I waited around. Like maybe another reason I wasn't in a great mood for it. But like I mean I was like I wasn't having a bad day or anything. But like I waited around from like I went for the 4 o'clock showing. That was like they literally just sold their last ticket. Then the 6 o'clock showing I went into, it was packed. It was like down to the last seat. It was like really, man. People were really up for it.
Yeah, like that might be why a lot of people are digging it quite a bit, because it's. I say this loosely, but it's different from Marvel, and maybe that's why people are just
It is different, and I think it is also the hype just has overwhelmed people.
Yeah.
And I don't like I know that's like maybe talking down to people saying, "Oh, you just got caught up in hype." No, I really do think people have just like the trailers look great. Like a lot of people really like the aesthetic, and it is something genuinely unique. I'll give it that. It is something that we haven't seen before, and it's like especially with superhero movies, like there's a lot of superhero fatigue around.
Yeah.
So like this is like it's something very new.
I mean, it has a bunch of female characters.
It has a lot of
and people of color as well.
Yeah, female characters, people of color. Those are all good things. Yeah. I don't agree with the people who say, "Oh, you should support this movie just because of that." But like those are pluses. And it's like, yeah, I can understand those reasons. None of those add up to a good movie.
Yeah, true.
And like people saying that the critics just don't get it, man. It's like, no, I'm fine with you people liking this movie, but from a filmmaking standpoint, this is a bad film.
Yeah.
Like just like structurally, character-wise, writing, it's a mess. Like Batman v Superman. And it's okay to like it. It's just, admit where it's like it's got flaws.
Okay, so we've gone through the characters.
Speaking of
which is arguably like the way that they wanted to be like Guardians of the Galaxy, where it's more the characters than the plot. Now like we can kind of gloss through the plot just like they did.
Yeah. Like before we get into the spoilers, do you want to give like a general rating for it?
I'd say general rating, if you want to go numbers, I'd say 4 out of 10. Because Of the 3 DC films that have come out, Man of Steel, I am utterly numb to. I can't even like build a strong, he destroyed the city in the last bit. I can't even get angry about that anymore. I'm just so tired of seeing that film now. Yeah. Man of Steel was a glorious train wreck.
Oh, Batman v Superman, you mean?
Batman vs Superman. I enjoyed that more for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, exactly.
And this film, it's the shiniest turd of them all.
Yeah, I mean, with Man of Steel, like if we were doing the whole DC things, like Man of Steel, I've softened to a lot. Like I've rewatched it a few times, and there's a lot of stuff in there I don't dislike. Like I like the Krypton stuff. Yeah. I like the design of Superman. I even like some of the fighting. It's just I'd say it's a bit too long. Like it could do with restructuring, but it's not a terrible film as much as I hated on it before. Batman v Superman, same thing. Glorious train wreck, super fun. Suicide Squad, like I said, I walked out of it halfway through, but I think that if I've sat through it for an hour, I think I'm at the point where I can say, and I'm thinking of leaving. Like, I think that's a solid point where it's like, no, you can definitely say, like, this is a movie that failed on several levels.
Yeah.
And, like, I appreciate the originality. I appreciate, like, that, yeah, it had, like, a few things up on Batman v Superman. But that, like, as a film, on just basic filmmaking premises, this is dog shit to me, and I hate it.
A film should make you feel something.
Yeah, like, I'll say it, the first 20 minutes of this film, like, the editing, like, just made me sick of, like, it was, I hated the editing in this film so much.
Yeah, I've kind of realised that, as I'm not really a man who understands entirely the science of editing,